Hey guys, and welcome! With me today I have beautiful Alistair. He's my male Sungle boa, and I wanted to show him to you guys, but I also wanted to talk about the pros and cons of having a snake as a pet. Of course, it is a bit difficult doing these pros and cons in general because there's so many different types of snakes, but guys, take this as a little bit of fun and as just like a general pro and con list. The first pro that I can think of when talking about having a snake as a pet is that they are quiet. If you, like me, really do enjoy having some quiet time and just sitting reading a book or stuff like that, the snake is definitely a pet for you because these guys don't make any noise whatsoever. You may hear the occasional fart if they are pooping, but I guarantee you that that one you will hear. The next pro, of course, is that these guys are incredibly beautiful. Not only is the snake itself beautiful, like almost like a living piece of art, but you can also decorate the terrarium to look incredibly stunning, like a little piece of nature in your house. I often tell people when they ask me, why do you want a snake? You can't do anything with it. And I tell them well, you can see it kind of like an aquarium with fish. You can't do much with those either, but they are incredibly beautiful to look at. The next thing, of course, is that snakes, they really don't require you to socialize that much, which means the snakes are not sociable animals. You can take them out, you can handle them and all that kind of stuff, but it's not like they will do any worse if you are not handling them for a couple of weeks. These guys really do prefer to just be left alone most of the time, so they will do perfectly well if you're not around to hold them or to touch them. Then of course there is the feeding. In general, snakes, I believe, are very, very cheap to feed because most of them, they don't require to eat more than, let's say, twice a month or once a month, again depending on the species, which means that you really don't need to be spending that much on food. The next thing that's really a pro is that the snake most of the time takes perfectly care of itself. Of course, it needs clean water once a day and it needs the terrarium to be changed if it gets dirty. But other than that, the snake is perfectly capable of just minding its own business, which gives you as an owner an incredibly amount of freedom. Which again means that if you get like a random invitation to go out after school or after work, you won't have to rush home to take care of your snake. You can just go out and enjoy and then come home later in the night. The snake really won't mind that much, unlike a dog, for example, that really needs you to come home. Then of course there is the lifespan. The average snake really does have a long lifespan, around 20 years, and that is an incredibly long time to have a pet animal. So if you're thinking about buying one, you are definitely in for a ride. And then of course there is the fact that snakes, they are hypoallergenic, which means that you don't get allergies from them. And last but certainly not least, my favorite pros of having snakes is that they just are incredibly awesome animals. Like, how badass and how awesome is it to have a snake as a pet? Alright guys, that was the pros. Now let's move on to the cons, because wherever there is pro, there is usually a con, and of course there is cons with snakes. The first one I'm gonna mention is the poop, because not only is it incredibly smelly, but it can also be an incredibly large poop. Like, you're gonna be astounded by the size of poop a snake can do. I'm just putting it out there. The second thing was also a pro, but that can certainly also be a con, is that snakes are not sociable animals. They don't show love and they don't show care for you the same way that a dog might do. I firmly do believe that snakes don't have the same emotions as we as human beings do, or as a dog may do, or another mammal may do. I do believe that they know that we're not a threat to them, but I don't believe that they can show love in that way. So that might really be a con for you if you want an animal to show you affection, because the snake most certainly is not going to do that. Then of course there is the whole fact with dealing with people who don't like snake when you have a snake. But I don't know why, but it's like if you have a dog, then people don't just randomly come up to you and say, ew, I hate dogs, I'm never ever gonna visit you. But when you have a snake, then suddenly it's okay. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've talked with people, they find out I have snakes, and the first thing they tell me is, I'm never ever gonna come visit you, or I don't like snakes. And I'm like, oh, okay, then don't. Then of course there's the whole thing about there is a chance that you might get a bite. I'm not saying that you are gonna get a bite if you have a snake, but there certainly is a chance of it, especially when you're out feeding. And last but not least, this is also, I've listed it both as a pro and a con because that is the size of the snake. Again, depending on the species you have, like a corn snake, the size won't be a problem that much, but if you're buying a boa like Alistair here, you might have some issues with the size down the road because these guys can grow incredibly big, which means that you need a big terrarium for your very, very big snake. And that is both a con and a pro because it really does depend on what you want. Alright guys, that's all for now. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your pros and cons are of having a snake as a pet. Let's put them right down in the comment section. Please give the video a like so I know that you like what I make. It really does mean a lot to me. And while you're at it, just hit subscribe on that channel. Thank you guys for now and bye bye!